Hi, I'm Dr. Richard Stiff, and I'm here today to interview Guy Montag. Guy, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks, Rich.
Well, let's get on with it, shall we? So, Guy, first question. After the bomb dropped, everything was obliterated except for our satellite records, which show us some footage of what the land was like more than a decade ago. Can you describe a little bit about what life was like? I mean, were the satellite records accurate?
Well, first of all, no, the satellite records were not accurate. They had a video of the chase, a couple hours before the bomb dropped, where I was, after I killed B, I ran away and I escaped into a river, but they didn't want the public to see that in their parlors. So they took a random man who was walking on the street, who the government was always suspicious of, and they just decided to have the dog kill him instead, so that everyone in the society could be entertained. But other than the rest of life, it was just fake. I mean, everything was like the spur of the moment, constant entertainment, constant everything, no attention needed. Look to the left, ooh, yeah, you can see a clown, slapping his neighbor in the face. Ooh, look to the right, there's my fake family. Great. Sending me fake cyber kisses. Thanks a lot, family. I couldn't take it anymore. And, it's something that, they wanted to get rid of these books. And that was my job. I couldn't do that. Books were the only way for me to escape this world, and they were trying to ruin them all. And I couldn't deal with it. Everything, my ex-wife Mildred, well, I guess not my ex-wife, but I guess I kind of think of her like that. She was like a robot. She didn't have any personality. She didn't care about anything, just her fake parlor family. And I couldn't take it. So life was not, yeah, you'd be entertained, but this one girl once, I met her really late at night, and she opened my eyes. I was part of everyone else before I met her, but then she came from a family who had old values that, they would appreciate the nature, the trees outside, actually liked talking to real people, and ever since then, she had mentioned books, and I met another man who talked about books. He was a professor.
Wow, I can't even imagine.
How about try living it?
What gets you going about books?
Yeah. Well, this one kind of really hits close to home, because back, 10 years ago, my job was to burn books, to get rid of them all, to ruin the lives of those who stored books, burn down their houses, burn down all the books that were in there. Why? I'll tell you why. Because the government wanted everyone to get rid of books so that not only could they have complete control over the citizens, but the citizens themselves they kind of started losing an appeal to books. First, a few hundred years ago, books were still there, but then magazines came out. And those were, fast, big pictures, less information, more entertainment. And then after that, radio, listening, quick entertainment, not having to take the time to look at something and read it. You just listen while you're doing the dishes or whatever. Then after that came the TV and the computer and everything, and just books. No one really wanted books anymore, and the government wanted to just roll with it and say, Wow.
Wow.
Books. We should really get rid of books because people don't need to know this stuff anymore. You know, we like fireworks. We like movies with action. We don't like knowledge. Books. People who are really informed who read books, they start to get mad. They start to want to rebel. They start to lose interest in how society is going at the time. They start to really get ticked off about inequality and racism, and you know, we don't want that around here, do we? At least they didn't a few years ago. But you know, that's no way to live. You can't live in a completely perfect society with no problems, no negativity. You know, that's what information's all about. That's what humanity is made for. Competition, striving to be better, even if it means you have to be a little unequal. Even if it means you have to fight and rebel. And that's not how society is supposed to be without, you know, any of this information or anything. Just, it never worked out. So books, once Faber told me the magic of books and what they could do, I started, each house I went to burn, I would hide a few books in my jacket and store them in my house, in my basement, in my ceiling, in the backyard, and I would read them, and they were so interesting, and I couldn't, you know, they were really amazing books.
So how did you manage to rebuild this land from the ground up?
Well, it's a very, very long process, and it's one that I really think it's going to be a cyclical change. So once I escaped from the district, I went down the river. This old man, wise man, named by the name of Faber, used to be a professor, told me all about where to go when I escaped. And so he told me that the river would once lead to these railroad tracks, and that a bunch of old professors and old knowledgeable men and women would hang out at the railroad tracks, you know, kind of cut off from the rest of society, and they would read their books, memorize the books, and then burn them themselves. So that, you know, it's not really about the book that matters. It's about what you have in there that matters, and what you can do with it.
By their.
Oh, sorry, not the ear. I'm in the brain. What you can do with it.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. But so we all went. We sang a few songs, and then we walked. Once the bomb went off, we all heard the bomb, and it kind of, you know, the dust went right in our faces. We had to cover that up with these things. And we walked back to the city. There were only a few who made it out, but the few that did make it out were completely shocked. They weren't used to not having electricity. They weren't used to anything. But we reassured them, you know, you don't want to make fun of these people because they have no idea what's going on, you know. So you just have to, you know, reassure them, tell them it's going to be okay, and then slowly but surely give them the knowledge, teach them about books, you know, tell them that everything that they were told before is not valid, it's not going to help. So we kind of, you know, we had some help from friends in the engineering business and the mechanical business, help rebuild some, you know, regular shelters and whatnot. And since then, it's just like kind of multiplied exponentially to what we have now. But now the main priority is just instilling the values of knowledge, good old time knowledge, instead of this entertainment stuff.
Gripping. You ever miss what you had before? Your peers, your wife Mildred?
That's a great question. I'll get a little nostalgic about how times were, but honestly, when I got home from work, my wife Mildred, she didn't even acknowledge me. She had her earphone plugs in her ears, listening to her TV shows that lasted 5 minutes, and then on to the next show. It was almost as if she wasn't there. She didn't remember where we met. She didn't care about how my day was. You know, I just kind of went on with life, went to bed, got up, burned more books. Captain Beatty, my boss at the firehouse. He was very knowledgeable. He liked, I'd say we got along until, of course, he turned on me. He was very knowledgeable. He knew all about books and what they did. He was the one who told me how books led to inequality and mass violence. But, maybe that might be a little true, but it's better than what we had then. So I'd say I don't miss it. Do I think about it? For sure. Yeah. Because that's what keeps me going, doing what I'm doing now. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, it has been a real treat having Guy Montag here. I mean, this has been really special. I mean, Guy Montag was in my living room. Oh my God. Mom isn't gonna believe this. Oh my God. I want to extend a special thank you to our cameraman, Chuckanopoulos. Chucky, we love you.
Thanks,
baby.
Guy.
Man. All right.
Great having you here.
Guy, it's been a pleasure.
Nice. Got a handshake there, too.